One of the opportunities which is interesting is, and this is not a political statement. You can imagine in really progressive areas like New York City, Trump is not popular. In fact, just the opposite. He's probably hated for the most part. The buildings with his name on it, Trump Tower, Trump Palace, they're not faring well because if you're just a regular New Yorker, you would not feel good about buying in Trump Tower. You'd be embarrassed to do it. So the number of people who are willing to buy there, and then other people who may have political beliefs that along Trump's beliefs also are not buying there because they realize that, it may not look good for their business. So consequently, that's one of the buildings that there's really good deals on are Trump buildings right now because they're going substantially lower than 10 or 12% off.
Do you think that, man, that's such a great point to bring up. Do you think that those buildings will be sold and rebranded at some point by the Trump family, or
they're condos, so they don't actually own all the units, but they may own some units, and they were the ones that converted the buildings to either condo or co-op status. Mm-hmm. But they have long-term management deals, and they had the right to put the name on it. At some point when those contracts expire, I suspect the names will be coming off just about all the Trump buildings.
What do you think that timeline is?
It varies from contract to contract. So I would say already about 5 or 6 buildings have removed the Trump name already.
Wow.
One of the buildings actually had to pay the Trump organization money to get the name off of the building. But it's not, his name is a damaged name in New York. So it's fascinating. Trump is trying to, Trump in the past has appealed to very wealthy urbanites in his buildings in New York and Chicago and San Francisco. I think he has a building in San Francisco. Those are not the type of people who are supporting him for the most part, politically. Whereas there's other parts of the country that he's extremely popular in. But then how do you take that high-end luxury bit and put it into other areas? Let's say I'm going to pick Arkansas for lack of a better place. What kind of product could he actually produce there that he could make the amount of money that he used to make here? It's going to be a tough haul for him financially.
You have to build a 2,000 home neighborhood.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. So I guess from, the investor in me is thinking from a strategic perspective, it would make sense to buy a unit in one of those buildings, on the precipice of potentially the name changing and, values being turned around, assuming
it's funny, David Osborne. The reason I'm bringing this up is David Osborne just reached out to me and said, are there any deals at Trump Tower? And is it true what I'm hearing? And so that's why this is actually top of mind on this.